Good morning. Thank you guys for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday Eastern. And I am your host, Dr. Shakinoni Nichols. So, hi, everybody. Happy Friday. I've got on my evil isn't just dumb, it's stupid t-shirts. I know you can't see all of it, but maybe I'll make like a little commercial or something so you guys can see the t-shirt. If you'd like to get one, let me know because evil is dumb and stupid and it totally shoots itself in the foot all the time. And if you've been around this week seeing all of this controversy, this has been a lot going on. So there's one thing that came up um, that I didn't realize. Apparently, Donald Trump had spoken or made a phone call to Gavin Newsom, and apparently they spoke, you know, and Newsom said they didn't speak. So I was like, okay, well, what happened? And pretty much what we've come up with is that they did have a phone call, right? Oh, I had this wonderful little thing that the what do you call it? The AI did for me. Let me see if I do it right because I have a video too. But apparently they had a phone call, right? And so I wanted to just kind of read what AI, had to say about it. Like, okay, so what's going on with this whole phone call thing, right? Like, okay, if they spoke, right? But apparently Newsom has been saying that they didn't speak, right? That there wasn't any communication, but apparently there was some communication. So President Trump attempted to use a screenshot of his phone's call log to prove he recently spoke with California Governor Gavin Newsom. But the evidence showed the conversation occurred on June 7th, not a day ago. So I'm not sure the reference day point of when AI is recalling the conversation, but apparently it wasn't a day ago. So like today's the 13th, and let's say they did this as of Monday. Well, Monday was the 9th. So if he said a day ago, that would have been the 8th, right? Not the 7th. So I think that's what AI is getting to. So undermining his assertion of supporting Newsom's denial of the recent call. So this misstep occurred amid an escalating dispute over Trump's deployment of National Guard troops and Marines to Los Angeles in response to protests against immigration raids, a move Newsom has called illegal and immoral and has sued to block. Okay, so everybody remembers kind of the aftermath, but initially everybody was like, well, why didn't he just reach out to the governor? Now, here's my take on it. And I can be completely wrong, and that's fine. What if, let's just say, what if they spoke, right? And they had this brief conversation, and we all know how Trump can get, right? He can be like, you know what? I'm just going to send the troops anyway, no matter what you say, right? And Newsom could have just denied the whole thing. He could have, and been like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you do. I'm going to deny it. I don't want the troops here. So, I can see that conversation going both ways. I really, really can with these two men. The way they, I want to say, the way they communicate, how they, interact. Let's just say. So let's just look at this quick video from Fox News, and they actually have a screenshot of the call.
Segment with the very latest on the Los Angeles riots and what took place overnight. Hi, Brooke.
Hey guys, that's right. So some of the 700 Marines in Los Angeles are expected to be deployed today to protect ICE agents, with thousands of National Guard troops waiting in the wings. So the LAPD says dozens of protesters were arrested for refusing to follow the curfew put in place by Mayor Karen Bass, who says it will likely last for several days. And California Governor Gavin Newsom is now vowing consequences for violent protesters while still managing to throw digs at President Trump for even sending in the troops.
People will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety. We honor their service. We honor their bravery. But we do not want our streets militarized by our own armed forces.
Newsom claims President Trump never called him when the protests broke out, but the president is bringing in the receipts, providing a screenshot to Fox News of a
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. So we can all see, all right, that it was June 7th, 2025. Now it says 1:23 a.m. Like y'all are having late night phone calls. Like, who is up at this time of night? But the 7th, as I recall, was on Saturday. So technically, if it was 1:23 in the morning on June 7th, that would have been Friday, right? And that was just kind of the beginning rumblings of this civil unrest that's occurred in California, because everything really didn't bubble over, I should say, until probably late Saturday, Sunday, right? Because that's really when I started watching the coverage was more so on Sunday. I want to say Sunday after Sunday evening, roughly 7, 8 o'clock at night is when I started watching and hearing about the civil unrest going on in California. So there you go. Yeah. So the men, whether they spoke or not, and it looks like it was a 16-minute call, outgoing 4 minutes. Yeah. So it looks like he called twice. 4 minutes and then 16 minutes here. Weird, minute apart, but whatever. But that was the call. So it happened. He's got Gavin on speed dial. Just saying. You're saved in the phone, sir. But I wanted to show that to really, get across the point. Sometimes we have to dig a little deeper, right? And not necessarily take people at their first word. Because I was kind of like, okay, well, if he called him, why is Newsom saying he didn't communicate with him? Well, like I said before, they probably maybe talked about it. And Trump may have been like, I'm just going to send the National Guard anyway. I'm not saying that he said that, but he could have. And then Newsom in his defense could have been like, well, I don't want you to send them. I don't agree to that, right? So even if they never agreed upon it, to say that they never spoke, I'm like, okay, Newsom, did you talk to him or did you not? Because bro, we got a screenshot. So if you did talk to him and you disagreed, I can respect that. I can respect that you disagreed, but you spoke to him, right? But don't say you didn't talk to him at all, because that's just bad. It's just bad optics. I'm just saying. So to continue to move on, yes, we need to talk about these riots again, because there's going to be some civil unrest coming up. And I wanted to show you guys a paid protester who has actually stated that he was paid to protest. So let's check it out.
Got offered $200 a day to go protest ICE in New York. The organization was called No Kings. They said June 14th we're going to be protesting, and these are the streets that you need to be on, and this is what you need to do. You need to cause chaotic disruptions, and they said that there's going to be pallets of like bricks and different things everywhere that protesters could use. They really want to wreak havoc. It's kind of ridiculous. Me as an American, although I need the money, I'm like, this is very, very unpatriotic. If I was to go take this money and go protest, it's not very American. It's not what I stand for. It's obviously not even, worth the time. But, $200 a day is what they're paying people to go protest. The corruption is up here because it goes way beyond these organizations. They want to destroy America, and people like me that need money are gonna go do it. I'm not gonna go do it, but people are gonna go do it. They're gonna go destroy, the city and cause chaos. it's just crazy that, you know, they're even paying people to go do this. It just goes to show that everything we deal with is corruption, and these people at the top level, like, who's paying for this? There's got to be some billionaires paying for this so that, you know, they could try to get Trump out or something. But, you know, $200 a day to go cause chaos is like crazy. Not worth it, but also like really fucked up.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't realize. I usually try to preface it with language because I know I've got some listeners that are Christians that do not want to hear that language. You might have your kids in the car while you're listening to this. So I do apologize for that last part of the video. But he makes a great point. You know, there are some people that are desperate right now and they don't have jobs right now. And so they will take the money, you know, they will do this destructive behavior. Now, it's very interesting that he says this as far as the destructive behavior goes, because, you know, earlier this week we did go to the No Kings website, and we're going to definitely go over it again today to warn people because it's even happening here in the state of Georgia in several cities and even the city that I live in. And I want to make sure that people are informed. But he states that they want people to be disruptive and destructive. So that's not a peaceful protest, right? Because they keep saying peaceful protest, while they're defacing buildings, while they are throwing bricks and rocks at law enforcement, but screaming peaceful protest. Are you screaming peaceful protest because you do not want the police to actually apprehend you and arrest you? I'm just saying, a peaceful protest actually wants something at the end. Again, I will use the example of Martin Luther King. Some people like him, some people don't. But when they protested in Alabama, they protested peacefully, even to their demise in some situations. I mean, dogs were called out on them. They had water hoses sprayed on them. And they were actually protesting for civil rights and voting rights. So at the end of this protest, because of their bravery, because of the, I want to say, alliances that they were able to build, right? Because there were Caucasian people as well that said, hey, we see your plight and we want to make sure that you do have the right to vote, right? And so they joined them in their peaceful protest, and those voting rights were definitely restored, moved forward, and, you know, here we are today, right? But those protests were about moving the needle and making sure people had their rights solidified. What are these protests about? Does anybody really even stop to think, why are they protesting? And I'm like, okay, well, if you're protesting against ICE because you do not like the fact that they are rounding up individuals and removing them from the country, you've got to remember this is what Donald Trump ran on. And this is partly why he won, because majority of the country does not want illegal immigration. They are okay with legal immigration. And then there are those like myself, I want the border shut down completely. I don't want anyone else coming in, not even HB1 visas, because we have so many people waiting in line to get their naturalization, right? But then we have individuals that are here illegally that need to be removed at that same time. So we need our border closed. Now, numbers have been thrown around. I would like 20 years. Some people have proposed 10 years. Some people have proposed just shut it down until we think it's okay. And that could be for 30 or 40 years. We don't know. But shutting down our borders has been something done in our nation's history, just so everybody knows. So if Donald Trump were to put something like that forward, he would have to work with Congress to pass it, right? But we do have every right to shut down our borders, period, administratively and physically. I'm talking about administratively, where no one else gets to come in. So again, no HB1 visas, no chain migration, no well, they've already rescinded TPS and paroled within the United States. Those have already been suspended and rolled back. So that's done. But no one else comes in the country, period. And for anybody else trying to sneak in, oh, you're done. You know what I'm saying? Even if you got in, you're going to be kicked right back out because our borders are closed. We're not processing anyone else, period. And that's how we need to be. And a lot of people might say, well, that's kind of mean. That's kind of, that's not the way we are. It's the way we need to be moving forward if we expect to actually uphold and have a country. Because right now we have people trying to take over it and tear it down. And we should not be that way. So there is another video that I'd like to get into. Now, yesterday, the governors of 3 sanctuary states that you might be familiar with, Minnesota, let me see, there's Minnesota, Illinois, and New York. Those were the 3 mayors that went to Congress to talk about their sanctuary state laws and their sanctuary state positions. It was very interesting to see some of the conversations because they were actually blaming the federal government on what happened. I was like, it was very interesting to see the gaslighting. Like, if you guys have the time, it's 4 hours, but I think, and some things have been clipped up, since yesterday. But I was like, wow, you guys are really trying to flip it on the government and say, well, it's the government's fault and it was their responsibility. They sent them here, so it wasn't on us. It's like, no, you took him in, you took the money that was given to you by the government, the federal government. So you did your part. Not only that, you took them in under your state. And Pritzker, he was one of the ones who said that. And I was like, sir, you literally stood on a podium and stated how you were going to protect these people. And now you're trying to throw the federal government under the bus like, well, this is your fault. This is your mess. It was, like I said, extremely interesting. But let's get into this next video. Now, this is Representative, I want to say it's Stansbury. I'm not sure what state she's from, but I really want you guys to hear her. It's not testimony because obviously she's not the one being questioned, but she is a representative in the position to question the governors. So let's take a look.
Mr. Chairman, well, some interesting theatrics today. Welcome, everyone, to the Oversight reality TV show. I know Mr. Trump loves himself some good TV, and today is not disappointing. And in fact, I want to say welcome to some of the members who've showed up to this committee who I've never seen here before. It's great to have you here in the hearing room with us. Now, before I get started on the topic at hand, I want to take a moment to speak directly to the immigrant community who might be watching and listening today. I want to say to everyone out there who is living in fear, we see you, we love you, we respect you, and we are fighting for you and every community that is being targeted by this administration and this Congress. We also want all of you out there to know that you have rights. You are protected by the law, and you should not have to live in fear and wonder whether or not you're going to be safe if you leave your home or if your family is going to come home at night. We see you. We are fighting for you.
I'm sorry, I got to pause this for a second. First of all, if any of us were doing what these individuals are doing in another country, we'd have been in jail. Okay? You can't just go to somebody else's country and get stuff. Okay? If you guys remember, earlier this week, we went over replacement migration. I'm probably going to have to go over that again just shortly, just to help you understand her mindset. She has the mindset of replacement migration. She's okay with it because she's telling these individuals, we hear you, we see you, we're here for you. Now, some of these people are here illegally. They actually broke the law. So I need you to know where she's at with this. She's okay with people breaking the law. She is. She's all right with it because, see, they don't see coming into our country as breaking the law. They don't see it as committing a crime. So I just want you guys to understand the mindset of where this individual is coming from. Let's continue to listen.
You have rights. Now, let's turn to the situation in California, which, of course, much of this hearing has focused on. As someone from a Marine veteran family. Let me be clear. Marines are combat troops. They are highly trained, highly disciplined, lethal fighting force combat troops. And they should never, never be deployed against the American people who are exercising their constitutional rights. This is a gross and disgusting abuse of power. A disgusting abuse of power by fake tough guys who think that they can intimidate our communities while taking away their rights. And this is from the same man who dodged the draft and called our military service members suckers and losers. That's your commander-in-chief. And here, these folks here and the president want to say they're for our military and our veterans while they're illegally deploying service members, violating state sovereignty, gutting the VA, firing generals and lifelong service members. And you all want to sit in here and play like you're with the military and the American people while Donald Trump is planning to spend $45 million of your hard-earned taxpayer dollars on a fake military parade this Saturday that they can't even fill, that they put a super PAC ad on Craigslist to recruit citizens of the city of Washington, D.C. to go stand in the parade route. Congratulations, it's made for TV. But this is serious because this is an abuse of power. So I want to read a list of grievances: obstructing the administration of justice, refusing to assent to the laws for the public good, sending swarms of officers to harass our people, keeping standing armies without consent of our legislatures, transporting Americans overseas to be tried for pretend offenses. Mr. Chairman, I wonder, do you know where these offenses come from? No? Aw, that's too bad. Because it's actually the Declaration of Independence. That's right. It's the Declaration of Independence. And my colleagues across the aisle might want to bone up on that in the U.S. Constitution before they go attacking our communities, especially as we head into the 4th of July holiday and celebrate.
Got to stop her again. Sorry. According to the naturalization process, states cannot just make up laws when it comes to immigration. That can only be done by Congress. Now, Congress, to my knowledge, has not codified into any laws anywhere, including the Declaration of Independence, right? Where what's happening in our country is okay. It does not state anywhere in there where people can just come into our country because guess what? Yes, it is a civil violation, punishable by a fine, which still makes it criminal, right? And it's also punishable by jail time, which makes it criminal.
Our independence from an abusive and mad king, because here in America, there are no kings, and we reject people who believe they are.
I'm going to stop her again right there. Now, did you hear what she said? There are no kings. Okay, I find that very fascinating that she got that into her little platform right here, because the organization that we just heard about from the gentleman from TikTok who was going to go and be a paid protester, he said it was nokings.org. She literally said the exact line from the website, says that there are no kings. That's why I found her particular stance during this moment so interesting.
And no one is above the law, and we will hold them accountable. But I think it's very clear today, and I think it's been borne out by every witness that we have here, that what Donald Trump is doing is not only an abuse of power, an abuse of the military, an abuse of our citizens, but also, y'all should know this, while you're sitting here creating this made-for-TV moment, that 2/3 of Americans, according to the polling yesterday, are opposed to what Donald Trump is doing with both immigration and the deployment of the military in our communities. It's wrong, It's immoral, it's illegal, and it's a violation of our rights. And with that, I yield back.
Okay. So with her time, right? She didn't even ask any of the governor's questions. She took that whole time to grandstand, which I found fascinating because she was like, okay, here's the reality TV moment. I was like, so you didn't question any of them? So you literally did what you were disgusted with. I find her fascinating. I truly, truly do. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to look at some of the No Kings protest in the state of Georgia. I want to bring up that list because I just want you guys to see what's going on. So thanks for joining us here at Unfiltered Vision News, and we will see you guys on the other side.
The browsers of today are broken. They've been overtaken by a barrage of sneaky and annoying ads, trackers that follow your habits, and cookies that build profiles and all sorts of other internet clutter that's taking precedence over the content that you want to see. In fact, these useless bytes can take up to a whopping 50% of page load times, with a third of it anxiously trying to learn more about you. To make matters worse, some ad blockers are even letting ads through when large advertisers pay them. But do you really want a leaky ad blocker? It's because of these very reasons that we developed Brave, a new browser that kicks internet crud to the curb and makes it faster, safer, and better to surf the web than your current browser. With Brave, everything you need is built right in. We integrated technology that automatically blocks trackers, annoying ads, and shields everything that can cramp your style and destruct your privacy. With it, you can expect increased speeds nearly 2 times faster on laptops and up to 4 times faster on mobile. And unlike any other browser, Brave allows you to support your favorite publishers with automatic micropayments, so it's a win-win for you and your favorite sites. To top it all off, Brave is open source, because we truly believe it's our web and we need to fix it together. So ask yourself this question. Do you want a web browser made for the internet of today? If so, try Brave. It's faster, safer, and ad-free.
Good morning, everyone, and we are back with Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, and I am your host, Dr. Shakinoni Nichols. So thanks again for joining us here, guys. So in the last segment, we were just really building and talking about No Kings. We were also looking at someone who was looking into being a paid protester, but definitely shared that that was something he didn't want to do because he thought, okay, if I'm protesting, I get it. But they actually were saying, we want you to be disruptive. We want you to, throw bricks and different things. And I'm like, wow. So they're not just being paid to be there. They're being paid to literally be destructive and disruptive. And I'm grateful for his candor and his honesty. We also looked at the phone call between Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump, and I'm sure that's going to play itself out in the media. They need something to gravitate towards. It's Friday. You know how that goes. And then we also looked at Representative Stansbury. And like I said, I found it fascinating how she brought up No Kings in her platform speech, because it was more so a platform speech. It was not about anything else, and trying to insert people who have committed fraud, which is, and they've also crossed our border illegally. They've committed crimes. The fraud comes in because some of them were told to say that they were asylum seekers or they were refugees when they were not. Okay. So that's fraud. Sorry. Still breaking the law. And we don't protect people under our Declaration of Independence or Constitution, ma'am, when they break the law. We don't do that. We don't do that. She's fascinating to me. Again, like I said, I find her interesting. So what we're going to do now is I wanted to look at the protest. Now, we may go over this again. I may be having a guest around the 8 o'clock hour, but I just wanted you guys to see this title, No King's anti-Trump protest is planned for June 14th. And there are 22 Georgia cities participating. So within the state, we've got 22 cities, and one of those cities is mine. So I'm just going to wait for my guest to, come on back. Well, not come back, but come up to the stage. And, we're going to talk about it because it may affect their area as well. So what's going on right now is really, really crazy. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background for it as well. So now we've got this this feature here through All Sides, and you guys know I love All Sides. It's great. If you guys have not settled on a news outlet, I would recommend All Sides because it tells you things that are on the right, left, and center. And as you can see here, when you see these like little light blues or light reds, that means they're center left or center right, right? So you can be all the way right, center left, or all the way left. So they capture all of those views in the different articles. But I wanted to look at this narrative because there are a lot of different narratives about what's happening in LA. It says split narratives. Media push extreme conclusions on LA immigration protest and violence. Okay. So as protests and violence continue in Los Angeles over the Trump administration's policies, some news outlets are doing a good job of laying everything out. Examples of peaceful demonstrations, example of violence. Critics of the Trump administration, supporters of an immigrant crackdown, etc. Conversely, many other news outlets seem to be endorsing one extreme or absolute narrative over any others. Now, just for myself personally, I have watched some of the videos. I know I shared some of the videos with you guys earlier this week. There is nothing peaceful about what these individuals are doing. And the reason why I say this, you can look at this picture. There's nothing peaceful about that. Do you guys see anything peaceful about that? I don't. Is this peaceful? Is this where we're at? So that's my question. Is this what peace looks like? No, this is not peaceful. It is not what peace looks like. And I know for the Latin community, those that are truly from Mexico that have come here legally, I know they are more than likely disgusted at what is happening and how that flag is being flown. I know that there are Latinos out there that do not agree with what's going on right now, and also other individuals that have migrated to this country legally that don't agree with what's going on. And when I say they don't agree with the protests. They do not agree with the illegal immigration. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. So, what some left media did was they suggested violence was minimal, suggested law enforcement had made the situation worse, and suggested a lack of precedent on Trump's actions. Now, on the right, they framed federal law enforcement actions as necessary, excuse me, framed the left as downplaying the violence, framed LA and its leaders as out of control. Some, especially on the right, suggested the city is overwhelmed by riots, vandalism, and looting. Let's see. Oops. Hold on, guys. I wanted to save your ears from me, like coughing in the microphone. So, anti-ICE protests spread across the county as rioting grips LA. said a National Review News that leans right. That's their headline. And then another headline from the New York Post that leans right said LA Mayor Karen Bass imposes curfew on downtown over increased vandalism, looting from riots, reached a tipping point. Now, I can kind of agree with the headline from the New York Post because if you've seen any video or pictures, they have defaced the City Hall building. They've also defaced the ICE detention center and surrounding buildings. And even there's like an archway where city employees can go across the street to another building adjacent to it. They defaced that as well. They've also broken into the Adidas store. They broke into the Mac store. They broke into the CVS. So these are companies, they're larger companies. But my question is, are they going to come back? Because it took a long time to come out of the Rodney King era in the 90s, right? To build up downtown because downtown was blight, you guys, squalor. I grew up in California, predominantly in Orange County, and you did not want to be downtown. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just one of those things, it was like, you're going downtown, are you okay? Do you need backup? You know what I'm saying? Now, I would go down there because I liked going to the garment district and I like to go shopping. And so I would go on like a Saturday, but I would always make sure I was there early, get in, get out early, spend a couple hours, know what I'm getting, and I'm out because it was okay safe, but you didn't want to be there at night. Do you know what I mean? There were certain parts of downtown Los Angeles that weren't safe, period. And so on the left, some major news sources instead suggested most of the city was under control. So the top of CNN.com that leans left looked like this on Tuesday morning. Protests largely concentrated in downtown LA. Now, they're not wrong about that. They are correct. It says some buildings have been vandalized and there is graffiti in downtown, but much of the city hasn't been affected. Now, I know what they're saying by that because there were certain parts of the city that weren't affected, but the crowds were so large that the police weren't stopping them. There was video that I was watching, like I said, like the Adidas store, the Mac store, and CVS. The police were driving by, but they drove by. So there weren't large swaths of police protecting these businesses to deter vandalism and theft. They were breaking the windows, you know, and, the phones that they had stolen from the Mac store were no good because I guess they have some type of internal mechanism or device where if something is stolen and it's not purchased, it locks itself. So they're completely unusable phones, right? They're done for. But that's what happened. But see, they were trying to make it seem as if there was control of the city. There was no control of the city at all, right? And the vandalism that had gone on, like I said, was, newly predominantly at the ICE facility, the ICE detention facility, and City Hall. Because City Hall before hadn't been vandalized like that, spray painting all kinds of, vulgar profanity, literally wrapping the building. But that was done prior to the police being there, prior to the National Guard being there. Because by the time they got there, it was already done. They were just trying to protect the windows from being broken in. And, the crowds rushing the actual City Hall. So much of the city saw no violence, according to the Associated Press, which leans left. Not yes and no, right? The part of the city that didn't see violence was the part that was mainly and predominantly protected by the police and the National Guard. Yeah, they didn't, but the rest of the city did, right? So it's like They're saying part of the truth, but they're not giving you the whole truth. And that's the sad part. That's the sad part. It says, while Trump has painted Los Angeles as being under siege and out of control, most of the demonstrations this past weekend over his administration's crackdown on illegal immigration has since been concentrated in downtown Los Angeles near the federal building and federal detention center, ABC News at Leans Left reported. That type of framing attracted criticism from many on the right and elsewhere. Dem media outlets insist LA anti-ICE riots are peaceful despite violence, injured cops, said Fox News, which is right on their headline. Another headline from Washington Examiner, which leans right, read, mostly peaceful riots return as media downplay chaos again. On the left, some suggested the federal law enforcement effort has made the situation worse, highlighting an Australian journalist who was hit with a use of rubber bullet and running headlines like least lethal weapons, how law enforcement is using force in the LA protest. USA Today, which leans left, and what I saw in LA wasn't an insurrection, it was a police riot. Wow, intense. You're calling it a police riot. Very crazy. Trump's immigration crackdown is the source of perversive violence. Read an article from The Intercept, which also leans left. Now, CNN described a video which appears to show officers in a chaotic situation employing contradictory police tactics, which CNN said can often lead to confusion or dangerous outcomes. While one officer appeared to order the man to stand up and leave, the man was quickly tackled by another officer after standing. Meanwhile, some of the right described the protest as well-funded and professional. They highlighted the use of tactical equipment such as riot shields against law enforcement officers and focused on groups who are financially supporting the protest. The Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, one of the activist organizers at the center of the Los Angeles protest, received millions in taxpayer dollars through government grants, including federal funding for immigration assistance services, according to a review from the Washington Examiner that leans right. Now, I don't doubt that happened. But let me take a quick break. Dr. C, thank you for reposting the space. And Chris, thank you so much for reposting the stream. I really do appreciate both of you being here with me this morning and everybody else who's joining me this morning. So unsettling footage has emerged of an anti-ICE protester brazenly doling out tactical gear to masked agitators in Los Angeles as the violence continues to escalate, despite California Governor Gavin Newsom and other Democrats repeatedly claiming the demonstrations have been largely peaceful. Yes, there was somebody in like a big truck and they were handing out things. I don't know what they were handing out. I'm not going to say if there was tactical gear or not, but it's on camera. It's one of those things. It's out there. And guys, we're going to take a quick break and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Something weird.
Hey guys, a little bit of a technical difficulty, so bear with me one moment.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't realize my mic was muted, you guys. Now can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. So what I will need you to do is I will remove you from the stage, but go get some headphones. If you have any headphones, to put them in the earpiece part of your phone so you can hear me. Okay? That's what I'll need you to go and get. So, guys, I was having a little bit of technical difficulty. I was trying to help my mom get on stage. No, get some headphones. I know you can't hear me. Get some headphones. Get some headphones. Get headphones. Get headphones. So I'm probably going to have to, like I said, remove her from the stage and give her a call. So I will be right back after this message.
At All Sides, we give bias ratings for hundreds of media outlets. By freeing people from filter bubbles and providing different perspectives, we can all be better equipped to understand the world and each other. So how do we do it?
Hey guys, thank you so much for hanging in there with me. My mom was having a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're going to, keep pushing forward. I do have another guest, and I'm just waiting for her to return back because she's going to tell us a little bit about what she's doing in the community. So I was going to just return to what we were talking about in our last segment. And I just wanted to, I guess, finish up like, oh, this is a long article, but at the end of this article, and this article basically looked at how the left is covering the civil unrest in California, how the right's covering it, how it's covered from center. But at the end of it, it says, meanwhile, America and media are sympathetic to immigration. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Who are sympathetic to immigration may focus on the nonviolent aspects of the demonstration, seeing it as a way to make voices heard and resist a political environment they feel is fueling fear and treating immigrants unjustly. The contrasting coverage among right and left-leaning outlets showcases the divide among Americans themselves. And that's very true with what's happening with the coverage. If you have been, just keeping up with what's going on with the happenings in LA. So Jay Smooth, thank you so much for coming up this morning. Much love and respect to the family. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. And April Showers, always thank you. Good morning to you, beautiful, as well. So now we're going to have our other special guest coming up, LA Pink. She joined us about a week ago. So I wanted to bring her back to the stage. We wanted to talk a little bit about some of these goings on in Georgia with no kings. Good morning. How are you? Can you hear me?
Good
Are we good?
morning. I am
Okay,
beyond
yes, this thing
excellent.
is
How are
on.
you? Yes, girl, I'm not in my car today. Lord have mercy.
No problem, no problem. So you had actually sent me a flyer, and let me get some room on my stage, on my end, and bring that up to present to our audience. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. My poor mommy, she's got to get some headphones so she can join me. But yes, I wanted you to tell us a little bit about the event that you have coming up.
Absolutely. Well, the initial event is by Bob Johnson. He is the founder of Juneteenth Atlanta Music Festival. He's been doing this now for over 14 years. I've been
Okay.
with him since 2014. And so this weekend we'll have a panel on his platform to speak about um, the flyer, what for the injustice.
Okay.
Um, and integrity versus prosecution. And the people that we're bringing up are different walks of people from different walks of life. We have Charles
Okay.
Rambo,
Okay.
which he is a specialist for Fulton County Sheriff Department. He has worked there for many, many years, over 20 odd years. So he'll be bringing a piece of it. We have attorney Mario Williams. We have activist Anna with We See You human rights, or she fights for the human rights of those that's incarcerated. And then we have a gentleman named David Scott that
Okay.
have done a 2 life sentence. Well, he was sentenced to 2 life sentence plus
Wow.
15. And with the help of Street Groomers and We See You organization and Mr. Williams, which is the attorney Williams, we were able to bring him home. And
Wow.
so off of a 2 life sentence. Then we have my husband, of course, that is the co-founder of Street Groomers, and he has launched him a Advocate Guard app. So
Okay.
he is, you know, going to be discussing a lot of different things and how that helps the community. And then, of course, me. We have Shelley Winters that will be co-hosting, and we have our formal the State Representative Misha Maynor that will be hosting it. So
Nice. Nice.
we have a tag team crew coming up that's going to give us
Yeah.
some good information on, the things that's going on in the community and how some things have affected them, through the process of the things that's happening in the
Okay.
system.
Okay, good. I mean, and those are the things that we need to know about. And I'm glad that you're bringing up opposing views, because the good part about that is everybody will actually get to kind of see the plans laid out on the table. I find it
Absolutely.
very confusing when parties are just kind of like, we can't let the other side know what we're doing. And I'm like, they're gonna
Yeah.
find out anyway.
Yeah.
Like what secrets are you doing? Like we all live here.
Right. Well, this world has been brought up into that,
Yeah.
when, don't let nobody know what you're doing because, they're going to block. Are they going to stop? You can't block what God is doing. That's the one thing people have to put inside their minds, that you cannot block what God is doing. And if God have told you to do something, he sent you to get it done without any kind of hesitation of who may, would, could. That's the walk by faith and not by sight. That's the knowing and not feeling like I don't know if this is the right thing to say or do.
Mhm.
No, do it. You
Y- y-
have to get it done. He chose you
Yeah.
to do it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the
And that's
society
good.
we're living in
Yeah,
right now.
and that's, yeah, truly, and that's where we should be, right? God
Mhm.
focused and centered. Because if we're
Absolutely.
not, we're all over the place. And it's interesting because people will be like, well, this is over here and this is happening. It's like, okay, well, where's your focus on God? Like for real,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
church, God.
No. God. I mean, that's just like with everything that's happening right now. I understand that people have their different views about the situation that's taking place. My views will always remain different. I do have um, my point of views about the situation because I am directly dealing with families
Mhm.
that have lost their children to lesser than what is being displayed right now. I know that people are mad
Mhm.
because the National Guards are coming in, but had we protested on some of the children that we have lost to police brutality,
Yeah.
and acted in the way that they are acting with just throwing the bricks at the cars and setting them on
Mhm.
fire, we would have had more deaths in the street than
Mhm.
we can even claim or name.
Yeah.
And so to see this being displayed and then seeing people cover it up with, well, they were upset because of the National Guards coming in, and this is the reason why they began to act out the way that they did, is still unacceptable.
Yeah.
Regardless of what we are out here wanting to get across, our actions have a reactions to their actions and their actions to ours. But when the president is giving orders, regardless if we like it or not. We didn't like a lot of stuff that Obama did, but nobody came forth the way that they're coming forth and being
Yeah.
so disrespectful about it. Regardless, he's trying to do what's best so that it won't be put on him like January 6th was. I look at January 6th now. I looked at it different already because I did a lot of research and a lot of background into it,
Mhm.
to see exactly what took place, what
Right.
happened, and
Right.
then being able now to see that rekindled again, that they are
Mhm.
denying the National Guards. They denied it for January 6th, and that look what
Yeah.
happened. And then
Mhm.
now looking at it refold again, and once again they blame him for it, makes me look once again at him in a totally different light. I think that
Mm.
they keep on setting different lights for him to shine in, and they're not even trying to. They're trying to dim his light. They're trying to make him look like he's the bad person. Does he make all the right decisions? Hell, none of us do. None of us get up every day and make the right decision. If so, we wouldn't continue to ask God and repent to God for
Right.
change, whether if it's in your relationship with your husband, your friends, your family members, your children. You do not get up every day and make the right decisions towards the life that you live. But you don't want no one to condemn you for if you told your child no today that they couldn't go, and they want to go and they should have went, but because you're in a stage of mad at your significant other, you told them no because it just all. So now you and your children is bickering. It's you and your husband, you told him no to something that you told your children yes to, because and now y'all bicker. It happens with any big or little situation. So we have to begin to now look at it like this man now has taken up under the torch, and God has given him. The people could sit up there and say, no, he did not. God is the ruler over this world, regardless of if we want to say he's not or not, but we have to look at it. Well, I look at it like even the bad has to still get permission from God,
Right.
regardless.
Right.
And so everything bows down to him. And regardless of if it looks like it or not, God still makes the decision on what happens and what doesn't. When that man was allegedly shot at,
Yeah.
God could have had still made that possible to happen, maybe not on that particular day, but on a different
Mhm.
day.
Right.
So
Right.
regardless, we have to look at life through the lens of God and not the lens of man. And the minute we begin to do that, then we will be able to be in peace with whatever decision that the system makes. Because keep in mind, we are still battling a bigger system, but
Yeah.
we're not battling a bigger God. So,
Right.
I just feel like people need to really sit back at this time and really um watch what they say, because a lot of people are getting involved. Like, those children don't need to be stripped away from their families. Well, we have prisoners that are stripped away from ours right now.
Mhm.
We fight for inmates daily that have been wrongly convicted, and they're not out here doing all this to get themselves arrested or put inside a position, but they have been stripped away from their families. We have the boys that were taken away from their mothers at 16 and 17, 15, some of them,
Oh.
even younger than that are wrongly convicted. So when my fight is different, I look at it different.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Yeah.
I just
And
got a
a
different
lot
point of
of
view.
what you were saying, are facts. You know,
Mhm,
it's going to come down to us really
mhm.
listening to God and listening to one another, because sometimes in conversations we just block each other out
Yeah,
because we just don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's like,
And
I
that's
have
what's
my
a lot going
view
on.
and I'm not going to
Mhm.
listen to you, and I'm just going to
Yeah.
listen over here.
Well,
It's
that's
like,
what's happening in LA right now,
mhm,
and a lot of different other places where the the leadership is barking. They're barking. They you got a biting president. So you're barking instead of allowing yourself to calm down and listen and just allow y'all to work together. And the community is using the fight that the governor and the president is giving towards each other to now manipulate the situation. That's how I feel. Because if they were on one accord, the community could be on one accord. But when
Yes.
you're not on one accord, how can you ask for them to be on one accord when they're blaming, if they would have not brought in this, if they wouldn't have did that, if they couldn't have did this, hold up, wait a minute, because this situation is all the way out of control. I looked at a video the other day and it said, and the guy was waving a flag and he said, how can you wave a flag of a place that you don't want to be, but destroy the place that you say you want to be?
Right. Right.
Like,
It's
it doesn't make
crazy.
any sense.
It's
It
insane.
doesn't make any sense. And the only thing that could be showing is that you're over here saying that you're ready to take over. And that ain't going to be. That we ain't going to let that happen because like I said, yeah, y'all live here, we live here, but to take over where y'all say y'all built, we built some of this too, so but we're not over here saying waving different flags and doing all this stuff. Like, if I don't believe in the American flag, it's not that I don't believe in the American flag. I don't believe in some of the traditional sayings that they have. We until we get on the real accord of what it's supposed to stand for. Why do you
Mhm.
stand in front of the flag that you don't honor? How do you swear
Mm.
into put your hand on a Bible that you don't abide to?
Right.
So I don't stand for the pledge of allegiance with everybody. I just don't, because I feel like when I'm in a government building, they're not abiding by the rules of that flag or of what it says,
Mhm.
on for us is to unite as one and to abide by God's rules. So
Right.
I just don't. But
Yeah,
I'm
and
not gonna burn
that's
it.
fair. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
fair because to your point, at a certain point, you're either going to be in alignment, right? And it not just be about ideology. And I think
Mhm.
those are two different things. And a lot of people always say, well, that's kind of the same. They really are two different things because when you have an ideology, you can move differently than when you are truly in alignment with God. Now, if this
Absolutely.
country was truly in alignment with God, there'd be a lot of things that we just don't do, period.
Exactly. Period.
We just wouldn't
I
do it
mean, at all.
at all.
Like, I mean, and the thing about it is that they're so out of line with God. Is like I said, you swear on the Bible to abide by his, you
Right.
use a Bible, but then, now the Bibles are being questioned anyways, what,
Mhm.
really, what have they placed in them that they can put their hands on that particular Bible that they
Right.
can say, I have gotten out of reading the King James Bible and got into the Hebrew Bible so
Mhm.
that I could get a clear understanding of what was really taught and said, and
Right.
not the cover up of what that men have made. So once we get out of that, I guess we can really have a real discussion about why they even put their hands on that particular Bible.
Right, right, exactly. But I wanted to also get into another topic with you about the No Kings protests that were going on. We had talked briefly about it
Mhm.
yesterday,
Yes,
and
you
I
said
pulled up the
those.
article. Yes, so No Kings anti-Trump protest is planned for June 14th and see 22 Georgia cities that are participating. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
22 of them. Okay,
yeah.
outside of DC. And scrolling. Okay, so here and they listed them in alphabetical order. So they got Albany, Athens, and now in Atlanta, there's two different ones going on. There's one at 10 a.m. to
Mhm,
noon in Liberty Plaza where you had an event, and
mhm.
also one from 1 to 4 in Atlanta Station, the bridge overpass. So if they're doing it at the bridge overpass in Atlanta, that means they're going to be disrupting traffic. So I don't
Yeah,
even know how this is going to be handled because I haven't seen anything from Newsom. Have you seen anything from
I
Governor
have not.
New or not Newsom? I'm
Camp,
sorry, Kemp.
camp.
I've been
I
so
was
on.
like,
I'm sorry, y'all. I've been so focused on Newsom. I'm like, it's one track
Camp,
mind.
Camp,
But
Camp.
yeah, I haven't seen anything from Kemp or
I hope
Bert
he
or
don't be
anybody.
like here, Newsom. I hope he don't be like nobody
I'm just
and get
saying,
the
like,
job done. But
Yeah,
I think that he's going to be in agreement that if Trump needs to bring anything in, um, then he can. We're
right,
going to go ahead because we do have the Juneteenth parade coming up. So
right,
we have notified, our security, to tighten up and make sure that the people that are in our parade get through successful and unharmed. So
okay,
y'all don't have to see a different side of LA Pink.
right.
And I'm just we just working them kinks out so that those things are not happening on our end, because we see that they're trying to fundle their way in as much as they can. But this just goes to show you, because they've been waiting. I mean, when I say they've been waiting on this opportunity to do exactly what they are planning to do. With him coming in office, if they kept on, and this is coming from the Demon Rat Party, and I just truly believe no one can sway me to believe any different than, this is a hit out from them. And
Mm,
that's just what Imma
mm,
call it. Imma call it
okay.
just that, because they they've been doing this. This is what they've been doing. If you really pay attention to a lot of things that have been taking place, and these are people, the organizations that they have staged off in there, because
Mhm.
that's what this website is. This website is, now it's targeted towards Trump, or but if you look at the overall destruction of it, they're tearing up stores, they're they're coming in to destroy. So they
Yeah,
want this, you know, this stamina behind them, that and it's there, it been there even when we black protest, when we protest and we
mhm,
protest against someone that have died or any of that, they are staged to come in and destroy. You've seen it with Amar
yeah,
Arbery, you've seen it with Rashad Brooks. They were claiming that, oh, the community burnt down the Wendy's, and it come to find out it was a white lady, that someone had broken into the bank, or it was a big building downtown, that it come to be undercover police, ex police officer, just finding out the level they would go to destroy, that all you want is your voice heard. All you want,
mm,
and I understand what the Hispanic community is saying, because trust me, I got Hispanics next to me. So don't get it twisted. I got them that I absolutely love, you know. So, but this is not what this is about. This was supposed to be for those that have broke the law, those that have
mhm,
come over here illegal,
right,
and they could keep saying that we're all illegal. They could say whatever they want to, but they know exactly what we're saying. We're saying
right,
those that are child molesters, those that have, raped women, those have raped children, those that, have done these different things to break the law. And then you come over here and you're still breaking the law.
right, right,
Okay.
exactly, exactly,
And it
and
shows, because the ones that are not, they're working, they're at home, they're looking at this stuff like, why are they doing this? So they're like, we you can fight, but it's a better way to fight than violence.
exactly, absolutely, and I wanted to just, like, finish going through the list, I
I'm
scrolled
sorry.
up and just showed you guys, like, some of the cities, like, but, McDonough, that's where I live, so they're going to be in the square, and I also played a video at the very beginning of the stream where a, TikToker, he was saying that he was gonna be paid, like, $200 a day to protest for this upcoming Saturday, and
Mm,
they were asking him to be disruptive. They were saying, "We're gonna have bricks staged for you so you can, cause an uproar." So they're not planning to be peaceful. I just need people to understand that. And then there was a congresswoman yesterday during the governor's,
mhm.
hearing that they had on the Hill. She even said, "There's no kings." I was like, "Are you serious right now? Are you affiliated
Yeah.
with this organization?" "Ma'am." What?
She is. I'm
And
alleged.
that's crazy. That's crazy. I'm like, so you do it was on one of those things like, you do know that they're advocating for violence, right? And you're a
Yeah.
sitting congressperson, and that's the problem, right? To your point, they
Hmm.
put their hand on the Bible, and they say that they're
Hmm.
going to abide by the Constitution and follow its rules and laws while they're swearing on their life, and that's part of the
And
putting their
breaking
hand on,
law and breaking the law and
but there's
breaking
no
the law.
consequences. There's
Yeah,
no
we watched that
consequences
with
for them.
Funny Willis. Yeah, we watched that with Funny Willis. She swore on the Bible that her and Wade had not slept together, and then she redacted it and recanted it, and then it became that they did, but they had ended it in this, and you still said you didn't. They still swore you in, and you say you would tell the truth and nothing but the truth, and you still lied under oath. So we cannot believe nothing these people say. And now you
Yeah.
got this woman out here saying that they're peaceful protesting. And then they're showing them over here burning cars, standing on top of a burning car with the flag. I mean,
Yes.
like, are y'all serious?
Yeah, yeah,
This stuff
yeah,
is real. This list should this should have been already at the National Guards, and they should have already went in and seized and desist this already.
yeah, 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 and that's what I
The
mean,
National Guard should
President
have
Trump
this.
has deployed National Guards. Now, I don't know if he's deployed them to every city that's on the map. I did show my audience, No Kings, like I said earlier this week,
Mhm.
and it is crazy how
Yeah, their website is out of
the
control.
map. So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna bring it up for you, because I don't know if you've seen. Yeah, but do you see all these dots, you guys? Yeah,
Those are all
like,
places.
really?
And they're
These are
paying
all of
these
the
people to do
locations
this.
where they're planning to be, and they're paying these people at least anywhere from 100 to $200 a day. It's crazy.
Wow. To give
Right.
their life
Oh,
away.
somebody actually sent me a link. Here is what the let me see. Here is what the Attorney General response to the protests in Atlanta. Okay, so I'll have to pull that up if I can.
Mhm.
But I did want to get to some of our viewers. So, Miss Patty Cakes, thank you for reposting the stream. And Sassy, thank you. Yes, thank God it's Friday. Good morning. Now we have some controversial posts. From April Shower, she said that Juneteenth event needs to be boycotted. She says they know those colors are wrong. So there has been a movement in the Black community to move away from the red, black, and green and I'm sorry, red, green, and gold, or red, black, and green, those three colors, and move over to the red, white, and blue. And really, separating from the African colors and getting more to American colors because we are in, we go under old glory. So I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on that. I know it's a lot.
Right. No. Because everybody can have their own opinion, as far as what it is and how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
The thing of it is we're not burning flags in the Juneteenth parade. We
Okay.
are just showing our culture. We're showing what they don't show us. For those that have won, those that are victory into Juneteenth. Juneteenth is not just slavery. It's about of the overcoming of who we are and what we have accomplished. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
we have bands that, yeah, they wear red, white, and blue. We have our floats are red, white, and blue.
Okay.
We where it's not just all black, green, and yellow. It's not just all,
Okay. So if
about
the FBA
Juneteenth.
showed up, they wouldn't be pushed out. It'd be like,
Oh,
okay,
absolutely not.
cool.
Everybody loves it. We have people come in from all over the world, like literally. Like we have people from California, Chicago, Detroit, Spain. We have everybody. We
Okay.
Cisco's colors are like all the colors, green, yellow, the not the rainbow, but it's it's very, very colorful. Well,
Okay.
I guess it might be kind of like the rainbow but it ain't purple and all them colors, but Cisco is involved, and Cisco they're very diverse. They're a very diverse organization, business. if you can look them up. But this is not just about just Blacks. It is about our history. It is about things and then we show the greatness of the history, but it ain't just we've never had, since I've been with him since 2014, we have never, ever, ever had a shootout. We've never had a fight. We've never had a
Okay.
brawl. We've never had any kind of, the police never had to be called in, other than the
Okay.
fact of them saying, do we have a permit for the park?
Right. Right. Right.
Do
Exactly.
you have a
Yeah.
permit to be here? We have a permit, but they want to see it. We might have got it that morning. But that has been the only thing that the police and us have encountered was a permit, and making
Okay.
sure that we were safe. But we've never had any kind of nothing. We've never had one dispute into the parade.
Okay.
So, and we've
Yeah.
never
Since I've
not
been
told
here,
somebody they couldn't come.
yeah, so since I've been here, I haven't actually gone to the Juneteenth celebration, this one in
Mhm.
particular, because there's several that go around the city, but I think his is the largest. And I guess the
Yes.
bigger question that a lot of people have is, and it should obviously acknowledge slavery because that's why you're even doing the celebration in the first place.
Well,
But
most
it's
definitely is going
but
to
it's
do that.
bringing, I think it's one of those things of looking at one another and saying, "Okay, I see you're not doing this. Here's some historical information here. Can we bring this into," you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
conversation. Because I
Absolutely.
have a lot of, you don't see these comments, but I see them on X,
Okay.
and they're like kind of controversial. And I'm like, calm down, y'all. I don't got so much time on my stage
Okay. Okay. Okay.
with
No, but
with
give it
my
to them,
guests. But
because that's the thing about conversation, is that
mhm,
everybody can agree to disagree. And a lot of people don't want to. You might
mhm,
not see eye to eye to the situation.
right.
Hey, the thing that I'm doing is learning, because
Okay.
the more information that I get, the more I'm leaving a lot of stuff alone. And this may be one of them. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay.
I grew up in Texas, so Juneteenth
Okay.
have always been my
Okay.
bloodline,
Gotcha.
so yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like I said, just like I had to learn a lot of stuff right now in this, is as long as political stuff been happening, I was not really political savvy. My husband really put me up on a lot of stuff that's going on. He's still putting me up on, and having me watch movies, read books, do all these
Okay.
different things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's fair, because I've got some comments. I'll show this one from Unc. He was saying,
mhm,
Juneteenth is supposed to be a teaching moment. No other melanated groups' flags should be flown except our flags. It's 100% about foundational Black American culture. And, that is a strong view from the grassroots coming up.
mhm, mhm,
And I think it's stronger from us coming up because we were brought up with a different mindset. We came up
mhm.
under Jesse Jackson, right? Who had more of the
And I
diaspora,
didn't
I
come
hope
up
I'm
under
saying it
Jesse
right.
Jackson.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But some of us
Out,
did.
out
And so
snake and
coming
all
out
them.
of it, we're
Now
like,
I seen them, but I never, like I said, I've never been into all of that. So I just
okay,
never,
gotcha.
Martin Luther King was, and Malcolm X was mine then,
Right. And coming from Texas, like you said, you had more of a root to it. Even my girlfriend
Oh,
that passed
absolutely.
away, her people were from Texas. So when, she and I growing up, she knew about Juneteenth, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I didn't know, So
But
it
see,
was a
what
good
people
teachable
have to
moment.
learn to live with now is that, yes, what is it, because we've been there, we've done that, but
Hmm.
we begin to include life, because one thing that we can't take away, and we don't want to separate, is that we are here in America now, and it's nothing that we're going to forget. If you forget who you are and where you come from, that's your fault, because really, if you really look at it, we all come from God. So let's take away everything then. Let's take away Juneteenth. Let's take away all this other stuff
Mm,
that's going to separate us from the love of God. Because when
come
we go
on.
to God, God is not going to ask you, was you a Juneteenth? Juneteenth. He's not gonna ask you, was you at Liberty, the Washington, and where were you born at? He already know who you are. So
Right.
if we really want to get down to the root of life, let's leave everything alone and let's just celebrate God. How about that? Let's just leave everything. Stop having all of these marches. Stop having all these, this we were in slavery. Let's stop having all of this who we are and who they are, and let's just come together and celebrate God. Because when we do that, then we understand that God is not going to come here and ask you, what did you celebrate and who was you? He's going to ask you, who did you love today? Because that's what he asked us to do. Love one another.
Yeah.
Now, when we
You
have
gotta end up on the
Mhm.
right or the left. That's it.
No,
Those are the choices you
he
got. The
he
lamb or the
said hot
goat.
and cold, no in between.
Mm,
Exactly. And
lamb or
so
the goat. That's it.
we really want to get down to it. And I think that's really what it's coming to with me, is that I really
Mm,
just need to focus back in on the one person. And don't get it twisted, because I wake up to him every day, and I don't do anything without getting his permission to do it. But and he's already been tugging on me about this already. I've been with Juneteenth, like I said, since 2014. And every time it's just seemed like get harder and harder and harder for me to get involved. I'm like, this year I'm not gonna do it, and then I get pulled back into it. And this year I'm not gonna do it, and I get pulled back into it. So hey, he's saying throw your hands up in the air, give it, just serve me, and then you don't have no problems. But you
Right.
still gonna have a problem.
And they're always weak. But like I said, I really like the fact that, this weekend you guys are going to be looking at having different views and different
Oh,
opinions.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
interesting how with what may come out of that, right? And how that might actually affect the Juneteenth celebration coming up. So, hoping for the best. But thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna bring my other
Absolutely.
guest up to the stage, but again, I'm gonna definitely share the flyer when I
Okay,
repost
thank you.
this space. And thank you as always for just being who you are, the wonderful LA Pink.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, we are one, regardless of how people want to look at it. And so long as we just look to the Most High, and just depend on Him, it don't matter about none of this other stuff. It's just things that happen daily, at the end of the day. But his
Right.
his name is power. So keep that in
Okay.
mind.
Yes, yes, will do. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Kingdom
Okay.
blessings.
Mm, bye. Okay, guys, thank you so much for hanging in there with me. No, I am not going to go to a commercial because you guys sat through like 3 or 4 of them while I was kind of like doing tech support behind the scenes. So I'm going to bring my mom up for our prayer with Fridays. And like, if you guys have been following me for about the past month, on Fridays we do a prayer of Thanksgiving going into the weekend, and also prayer and cover going into the weekend. And I do appreciate everyone who actually, has DM me in back channels, and also your comments regarding our last guest. So I know we could probably have a space after this and discuss more of this on the wonderful X platform. But until then, I'm going to bring my mom up to the stage. Hopefully she can hear me. Hopefully there won't be any technical difficulties. So thumbs up on that. Hey, Mom, can you hear me? I can't hear you. You can hear me, but I can't hear you. I can't hear you. So the mic, I don't know if your mic is working. But you look great. You look fabulous. Nope, I still can't hear you. Is your volume up? Okay. Nope, I still can't hear you. Like I said, you look great. I'm glad you can hear me now. That's wonderful. Yeah, these are the technical things that I go through, guys. While we're on the air, I know my nephew, he was trying to help my mom get everything situated. Okay. All right. I'm going to take her off the stage while she figures that out, because her camera's kind of going off to the side. Oops. Okay. She's back. She's back? She's not back? Uh-oh. We lost her. Okay. Okay, y'all. Y'all are wild. Y'all can't do that to me when I have a guest. Yes, I'm talking to my family. Y'all are a mess. I love you. I'm like, "Really, April? Really, Unc?" I know y'all sitting at home laughing at me. We're gonna laugh about this in the back channel. My goodness. But, to what LA Pink was saying, and I don't think she was saying anything in reference to flat blackness. I don't think it was that. I think more of the point is, at the end of the day, if you are an individual that is God-centered, God-focused, that's who you are, you know? And that's how it should be. You should be God-centered, God-focused. You know? So let me try again to bring my mom to the stage. Let's see if this works. Hey, Mom, can you hear me? You can hear me. Okay, but I cannot hear you. That's the thing. Okay, so she doesn't have the earbuds, but she can hear me. And typically, if the microphone is working, so she's got her earbuds, I still can't hear you. That just means your mic settings may not be on. You're on mute, mommy. Let me see. You gotta unmute your mic. Unmute your microphone. The little microphone down there, it should be like right in the left-hand corner because you're muted. Oh Lord. And we lost camera. We'll be back momentarily. So these are the things that I go through. This is tech support, but I'm super excited. There's like 200 of you streaming with me right now through my technical bumps and bruises. I'm so excited. I'm just grateful for all of you guys that you follow me in the morning and you get up early because I know 7 to 9 is kind of early. My mom is actually really doing good right now. Like, so when she comes back on, we will be able to hear her because the only thing she did was she just pressed the wrong button. She pressed the camera button as opposed to the mic button. And oh, thank you so much. Unc said, "Hey, Mom." So my mom can probably hear me. She's in the back room. And it says, "You know you folk." Yes. Live and in living color. Live and in living color. Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, the Juneteenth, I will post it because I'm not sure where it's being held at. They're actually doing 2 separate events, Rock. The one that she posted, the Freedom, event is actually going on this weekend. And then, next weekend, obviously, it'll be the Juneteenth celebration, but I'll find out. And I think, hey, let's get it done. See y'all at 9. Thank you, Miss April. We will see you at 9 a.m. Looking forward to it. Oh my word, we're gonna laugh and chuckle in that space. My mom is she's trying to get it together, y'all. She's trying to get it together. So I'm gonna give her just a moment. I am gonna take a break. So I have been talking for the past 40 minutes, but we're gonna take a little break. And when we come back, she should be fine. I think it was just a matter of the button that she pressed. She accidentally pressed the camera button, which she'll come back on camera. And then she just has to unmute her microphone. And then we should be good. And we should be having our prayer here. Oh, I see my nephew. I see him. Tech support. Oh, I should be able to hear my mom now. Let's see. We're hanging in there, guys. Thank you. Okay, Mom. Can you hear me? I cannot hear you. I still can't hear you. I still can't hear you. Excuse me. Your mic is unmuted. Marcel, can you check and see if the microphone in her phone is on? It's not that's not necessarily the microphone for the app, but the microphone in the phone, the microphone settings in the phone. Make sure those are on. Yeah. Okay. So, you know how we got to call on the babies to help us, Lord. That's what happens, y'all. That's what happens. That's we're doing good. It says, Honka says they all are duplicating the wrong presentation of Juneteenth, which is why I'm gonna do the real Juneteenth to show people what it looks like. Okay, and that's awesome to have like she was saying, different viewpoints because she was like, I'm still learning. So I love that part, right? Because it's one of those things where if we're like, hey, we're growing, we're evolving in this space, and let me show you something that I've learned, right? And April said that ponytail is everything, mommy. I know she's good, right? Some good hair. So let me see if we can hear her. Hey, mom. I still can't hear you. I know. We're gonna have to practice. So I know it's talking about practice like Alvin Iverson, but everybody thinks you're beautiful. So wave, mom, since you can hear me, but everybody thinks you're wonderful and beautiful. And we will try this again next Friday. But again, like I said, we're gonna practice offline and just make sure that we have all the technical stuff working in the background. But thank you so much for waking up early because I know it's like 5:41 a.m. She's in California, you guys. So she's up super early. She is safe from the riots because she's in Orange County. She is nowhere near LA County. So there's that part. Okay, mom. Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Love you. Okay. And with that, it's cool. I'll pray. I did it last week, so not a problem. But I just wanted to thank everybody for joining me here this morning. And we hit a few different topics. We definitely talked about um, the Juneteenth celebration coming up. We've had contributions from my online family on X, just sharing that, hey, it needs to be more about the red, white, and blue and not necessarily the red, green, yellow, and black, right? And evolving in that space. And again, because in the Black community, we're still learning, growing, and evolving. And that's what I've seen. And that's where I've grown. There have just been some things that I've had to grow with and learning about what a foundational Black American is and not really hearing that term, up until a few years ago and then learning like, wow, okay, this is a whole space that's been here. And, learning how the word Negro was, subverted from us during the Obama administration of all administrations, right? You would think it'd be solidified. And they were trying to change the term and remove it. Why would you do something like that to a people who are here and established? So it's this different things like that. And Unk says, if people are willing to have an ear to hear with the spirits of the ancestors, and God is saying, then we can get all of our business back on track. Love our people. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all a learning and growing experience to me. Like, I know a lot of people, they say stuff about April, but you know what? April has done some amazing things. She has brought us together and she's formulated something called the city, and it's an electronic city. It's a digital city. It's amazing the things that we can do in there and communicate with one another. And no one told her to do it. It was put on her heart, and she followed through to do it. God has blessed her with that. You know what I'm saying? And God has blessed all of us to be with one another. And are we going to fight and have some like royal smackdowns? Absolutely, because we're family. Are we gonna be fussing at these people out here doing all these ridiculous protests? Like, look, I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta bring this back up to the stage because what though? What seriously? And see these little stars that I found out are where some of the events are happening. But Rock was saying these little blue dots kind of represent some of the mayor cities that are involved in this as well. You know, this is crazy. This is insane, you guys. This is what's going to be happening on Saturday all over the United States. That's insane. What's really going on? That this has happened. And like I said, the representative, the House representative, her last name is Stansberry. She took I guess they have like 4 minutes or so. She took that whole time to grandstand while at the same time saying, oh yeah, this is made for reality TV. I'm like, yeah, you had your 5 minutes of fame, ma'am. You didn't have to have it. You didn't have to turn it into that, but you did. You wanted to have your viral moment waving your hands around and trying to snatch the air in your own way. It was quite ridiculous to see how you are okay with criminal behavior. I understand that there are individuals um, out there that, want citizenship. I get it. But guess what? There's a way to do it the right way. And Unc was actually sharing with us to Cities for Action. Google it so you are informed. Yeah. And we talked about that earlier this week. In our show. I want to say I brought it up on Monday. I've been trying to do better about keeping some show notes. So if I have to go back to my notes, I can definitely find them. And this is what Unc is talking about. Let me get it and show you guys. Let's see, get my cursor over here since we got a few minutes left before we end the show. And again, thank you guys for hanging in there with me and my mommy. She's so cute. And we're going to get all of it together. But this is what Uncle was talking about. It's Cities for Action, you guys. And mayors are signed up with this. And it's a coalition of nearly 200 U.S. mayors and county executives advocating for pro-immigrant federal policies and launching innovative, inclusive programs and policies at the local level. Well, see, here's the thing. The reason why you hear federal and local is because Congress only has the ability to change the immigration laws. And that's according to the naturalization clause in the Constitution. They're the only ones that can do it. But see, calling themselves these sanctuary cities, they're actually in violation of constitutional law. It's not even federal law. It's like they are out of pocket. They shouldn't be doing what they're doing, calling themselves a sanctuary city, because a state cannot just usurp the federal government and say, we're going to do this. Nor can the federal government, without making laws, just say, we're going to give this money to a sanctuary city. We're just going to do this without actually changing the laws. They never changed the laws. They created policy, right? And they had like the Inflation Reduction Act, and we had the CARES Act. We had all of these different bills put in place, but that does not equal actual immigration legislation to change anything. I mean, to date, they're only hanging their hat of birthright citizenship on a case that, in my opinion, was determined wrong because both parents were not naturalized. And so this individual was under the jurisdiction of Chinese rule, which is what his parents were under. They were under the jurisdiction of China, being Chinese, even though they lived here in America and they had a child while here. But all three of them are under Chinese jurisdiction, not American jurisdiction, because both parents were not naturalized, i.e., and therefore they were not American citizens. But a court, the Supreme Court at that time, they used the 14th Amendment and where it says any persons. But those any persons actually referred to slaves. It wasn't referring to anybody else because we're the reason why the amendment even exists. They threw a few more things in underneath there. But the descendants of slaves, we needed a way to be formally given citizenship within this country because the Dred Scott decision left it open and denied us citizenship. So I'm grateful that it's codified into law, but it's not open for everyone. And it isn't something where everybody who steps their feet on the soil get to have citizenship. And so I wanted to bring up Brock's comment. He said it was 200 mayors at the creation of this site. Now it's thousands, as you can see on the No Kings map. Gotcha. So every blue dot is a mayor who has signed on to put immigrants over Americans. And he says, not on our watch. I agree with you, sir, because we need to make sure that we are standing up for America. I mean, really? What are we doing here? What are we doing? And what are these House representatives doing? Look, we need to make sure we're going to find out where Stansberry is, and we need somebody to run for her seat. Anybody that's out there that is not about America and about standing up for Americans and denouncing illegal immigration, you need to denounce this. You need to say, not on our watch. We are not going to put illegal people here over the citizens of this country. We are not going to give them rights. Their due process is, you're here illegally? Yep. Okay, you need to go home. That's it. There's your due process. Like, that's it. And be done with it. And be completely done with it. Because it is not our job to save the world. It truly, truly is not. We need to take care of home first. And we've stopped doing that, in spite of people begging to have it done. This is why President Trump is in office right now, because the previous administration wanted to put illegal people over citizens of this country. Now, I'm not letting Republicans off the hook, because you guys did not stand up, and I still have yet to see you stand up about getting illegal immigrants off the soil. Is that because, some of the people that have donated to you, they're benefiting off of that labor? I'm just asking. I'm just saying. I don't see it. I don't see that same energy from Republicans that there maybe was, years in the past. I need to see some of you guys. I mean, Byron Donalds, he's great. He did very well questioning the mayors, and they looked like they looked really bad. They looked really, really bad yesterday. But guess what? It's only going to get better from here. So I'm going to do a quick prayer and a close. And again, I thank you guys for joining me here today on Unfiltered Vision News. And God, we just truly want to thank you for giving us life today, just breathing. Father, grateful that we are in a free country. And is it perfect? Absolutely not. But none of us are, Father. Because if we were perfect, we probably wouldn't be here. I think we'd be good to go. But we are imperfect. And please help us to work through our imperfections and, have peace. And I know in these days that they do call the last days, God, there's going to be strife. There's going to be wars and rumors of wars. There's going to be the pestilences. There's going to be mother against daughter and father against son. There's going to be a lot of conflict. But I just pray that you give us peace, God. I pray that you give us cover going into the weekend, because there are events that are going to happen around the country, along with the 250th Army celebration that President Trump is going to have. I'm praying, God, that you cover that event and that there's no violence that happens there. I pray for the violent events that people are planning, that they're thwarted, God. That means you got to send through some rain so people can't be outside, then bring the rain, Father. If that means, putting it on the hearts of the National Guard and, law enforcement to be there to protect the citizens in the city, then God, please bring that protection. Because, truly only you know when the last day is going to be here. But prepare our hearts to be ready to receive you. Prepare our lives to be ready to carry on afterwards. God. You know our struggles. You know our gratitude, Father. And you know how much we love you. So again, I just pray cover for all of us going into the weekend. And I'm definitely praying for all of us to continue to seek your love and your light, God. It's in Jesus' name we pray and give thanks. Amen. So guys, thank you again for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And we will see you on Monday. Please stay safe over the weekend. Again, a lot of these events are going to be happening around the country, and I will make sure that when we post, that I post the links. Oh, I got another post from Rock, probably came while I was praying. You know what I say? We got to get all these immigrants who hate us and those sitting in our government seats out of the paint. That is one of his sayings. Like, we got to get these people out the paint. And if anybody can understand basketball terminology, that means, literally get them out of the paint. Okay, you gotta go, because we need to be there in the right places and spaces so we can do better for one another. And again, thank you guys so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. I will see you on Monday. Stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. Till next time.